Welcome back to JTV News. While giving thanks that there was no loss of life, Premier and Finance Minister Dr. D. Orlando Smith, without providing a figure, says the repairing of the road network following the passage of the recent tropical wave is going to be significant. However, he says it must be done to keep economic activities across the territory on track.
Of our citizens, the cleanup of their communities, and humanitarian work of the churches and non-profit organizations in the relief effort. Your Excellency, I also wish to thank Her Majesty's government for the efforts of the support, and I look forward to discussing with you how the United Kingdom can best assist the territory moving forward. We are in the process of completing a damage assessment to ascertain the full extent of the damage caused by the wave, the value of the losses, and the extent of support that will be needed over the near and long term to fully rehabilitate the territory. I also thank God that there was no loss of life, and I thank everyone who stepped up to assist in the cleanup and relief efforts. The government and private sector will have to move quickly to put the economy back on track. There is no doubt that the damage caused by flooding and mudslides has caused disruption to business. Affected businesses will take time to recover, but we work together as a people to ensure that we revert quickly to a state of normalcy and prosperity. Road rehabilitation and other infrastructural repairs will be essential to enable people, goods and services to move efficiently across the territory. This will come at a significant cost, but it is necessary to restore commerce and facilitate our daily business activities. Rapid progress will be needed ahead of the tourist season, upon which many businesses depend for their livelihood. And in the meantime, we are also poised to resume receiving cruise ships on an expanded cruise pair for the upcoming season, which is now starting in earnest. This will get the economic engine of tourism turning again.
The Finance Minister, who is also the Minister for Tourism, says things are looking up in the financial services sector, adding that all efforts are now geared at readiness for the winter tourist season, with cruise calls to resume on August 29th and 30th.
We are also poised to resume receiving cruise ships on an expanded cruise pair for the upcoming season, which is now starting in earnest. This will get the economic engine of tourism turning again and help to support the economic recovery. On another note, positive news is coming from the financial services industry. Although overall numbers have dropped some, recent reports indicate that company and corporations are up in the first 2 quarters of 2017. I hope this trend holds for the remainder of the year. It would be a strong indication that their continued efforts to defend and promote the industry are paying off.
Dr. Smith asserts that while recovery from the tropical wave is at the top of the government's agenda, other priorities will not be neglected.
We remain committed to accountability and transparency. Just last week, I was pleased to receive the new Auditor General, Mr. Phil Sharman, with whom I look forward to working with my capacity as Minister of Finance. The government's accounts have been prepared and are awaiting his audit so that they can be laid before the House of Assembly. Our common goal is to ensure that taxpayers get value for money as we pursue the social and economic development of this territory.
The Premier was speaking at the swearing-in ceremony for Governor Augustus Jaspert, whom he also told he was looking forward to working closely with on the National Security Council. Over 200 delegates from across the Caribbean are currently in the British Virgin Islands for the once-in-a-lifetime experience of nature's little secret. They are not the familiar tourist groupings and international business leaders who frequent these islands, but rather religious leaders and followers here for the Caribbean Assembly 2017, being hosted by the New Testament Church of God International Worship Center in Boggers Bay, which is under the leadership of Bishop Ishmael Charles and wife Lady Kathy Patricia Charles. Here is Kathy Richards with the highlights from the August 23 opening night.
If ever there's a time that we need to see the hand of God, whoever we perceive him to be, it's now. A statement that is being echoed not just by religious leaders of this territory and the wider Caribbean, but BVI political leaders also.
Let me take this opportunity to appeal to the heads of every church in this territory to lift this community in prayer as we journey through the remaining months of the hurricane season. We have always been known as a praying people. The history of this territory is built on the prayers of men and women who are dedicated to the spiritual well-being of the community. These prayer warriors held prayer meetings to ensure spiritual protection for all and interceded day and night for the growth and well-being of these islands we call home. Prayer does change things, ladies and gentlemen.
Once we submerge ourselves in Jesus, the scent of death, poverty, disunity, hatred, all the things that divide in the Caribbean will be gone from the enemy.
And we as political leaders, those of us who are charged with the responsibility of making the decisions in government, can only be successful if we are undergirded by the spiritual leaders in the various countries throughout the region. And I put it to you, all of you visiting bishops especially, that the successful countries in the Caribbean who continue to do well are those who are their leaders are undergirded by prayer, are undergirded by spiritual people who understand the times in which we live in.
One person leading.
Una persona dirigiendo.
And wherever he walks,
Y donde quiera que él camine,
the rest are going to follow.
el resto va a seguirle.
And if they don't want to get out of line,
Y si ellos no quieren salir de la línea,
they've got to keep looking forward.
van a tener que seguir mirando hacia
I ain't got
adelante.
no time to look
No
behind.
hay tiempo de mirar hacia
The
atrás.
past is my past.
No, el pasado está en el
going
pasado.
forward.
Yo voy a
Premier and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable D. Orlando Smith, and his Deputy, Minister for Natural Resources and Labor, Dr. the Honorable Kedrick Pickering, and other members of the legislature, Opposition Leader Honorable Andrew Wilfoy, and the 5th and 6th District Representatives, Honorables Dolores Christopher and Alvaro Maduro Keynes, respectively, joined hundreds gathered at the conference opening session on August 23. This is the third conference of this kind to be held in the Caribbean and carries the theme, Power of Togetherness.
As I meditate on this year's theme, Power of Togetherness, I can say that the attitude is a way of life, which is now even more evident in our territory today. You may be aware of the tropical wave which recently affected our territory on August 7th, causing significant damage to our roads and other infrastructure. I can truly say that the power of togetherness is guiding our recovery. We are standing strong as one BVI. We are cognizant of the fact that some of our community members continue to brave certain challenges. I will continue to promote the spirit of togetherness. You see, my brothers and sisters, we understand that is the key survival attitude for us all, to unite, pool ideas, resources, and to stand strong.
But the problem with us in the Caribbean is that we're running our race still with those dead weight. So I want to encourage us all to cut off those training weights. Cut off the jealousy. Cut off the hatred. Cut off the bad-mindedness. Cut off the crab in the barrel mentality. We're going to have our differences, but it won't need to be to the point where we want to destroy the Caribbean.
And so as you gather in the British Virgin Islands, we want you to understand not only that you feel welcome, but that you're here at a very significant time in the development of this country and in the development of the Caribbean.
The curtains come down on the conference on August 27. For JTV News, Kathy Richards.
It has not escaped the discerning eyes of BVI Islanders that the curriculum vitae of the man who assumed the governorship of the British Virgin Islands on August 22, Augustus James Ulysses Jaspert, reads more like that of a police commissioner. His appointments in the UK include leading matters of national security and intelligence in the Cabinet Office and serving former Prime Minister David Cameron as his private Secretary of Home Affairs on issues such as policing, justice, immigration, security, and Northern Ireland. Political commentator and talk show host Claude Skelton-Klein.
And when we look at the dossier, at least as what has been provided to us, of the incumbent governor, there's no real experience in governance. Most of his experience is in intelligentsia, intel gathering, which begs to question, because the fact of the matter is, if you look at his dossier, he's more suited to be the commissioner of police than he is to be the governor. So it raises more questions than it answers.
But since that job is already taken by top cop Michael Matthews, another UK national whose team of detectives in recent times has been reporting steady progress in solving murder cases, maybe what that CV indicates are not only the strengths of the new representative of the United Kingdom to the territory, but that Governor Jaspert's expertise will guide while being of utility to areas under his portfolio, such as the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and Her Majesty's Prison. But who can speak more credibly about his professional life, proficiencies and passion than the new governor himself?
I have worked in different areas of public service all my life. Throughout all of it, I am driven by making a difference to improve people's lives. Whether that was working in children's services to support the most vulnerable families in society, working to tackle crime, the harms of illegal drugs, and to ensure people feel secure in their communities, or working with the British Prime Minister at a national level, helping to create the conditions for vibrant business and strong, united communities that can overcome challenges they face.
Governor Jaspert articulated what he referred to as the three-legged stool of a blooming nation underpinned by good governance, while speaking commendably about the BVI's largely crime-free environment, financial and tourism sectors.
I have learnt that prosperity, united communities and safe neighbourhoods are like a three-legged stool. They are not binary choices, but are all critical parts of a flourishing society. Here, good regulation and the right level of transparency underpin a world-respected financial sector that drives prosperity. Care for the natural environment, the right infrastructure, and a reputation as a safe destination underpin thriving tourism. And the seat of the three-legged stool, holding together all of the above, is good governance, with transparent government, leadership and public services, in which people have confidence we are always acting in their best interests.
Uttering words such as impartiality, approachable, and true friend, Governor Jaspert said he is committed to partnership to make the BVI an even more prosperous, safe, well-governed place, valued for the important part it plays internationally, as well as the future it creates for young people.
I will serve with integrity, fairness, and impartiality. I want to be approachable and part of the community, and will listen to all views, and want to support the institutions of these islands to own and tackle any challenges. It is though with humility that I approach my task ahead. I'm conscious that my priority is to learn and to listen. I intend to visit as many of the islands and connect with as many people as possible to hear your perspectives and views. I hope that you will find that my ears as governor are always open. I believe that we who occupy positions under the Constitution, whether elected or non-elected, whether we are here for a season or a lifetime, serve as guardians of the best interests of those whom we serve. I hope that you will come to view me as a true friend of the Virgin Islands.
Government, and more so members of the opposition in the House of Assembly of the British Virgin Islands, is still without a deadline for the completion of the audited reports for the past 6 years, even with an Auditor General in the person of Mr. Phil Sharman filling the position which has been vacant since November 2015. Kathy Richards has further details.
I've been appointed here to do a particular task, and a big part of that task is to bring the the accounts up to date.
But there will be no waving of a magic wand to silence the boisterous call by opposition leaders and others to furnish the government with the audited report dating back as far as 2012, as the newly appointed Auditor General, Mr. Phil Sharman, said it's an enormous task.
I'll be working closely with the Financial Secretary to work out a recovery plan for those backlogged years, and so that we can bring those forward to the House in due course. But as I mentioned previously, that is not going to be an overnight process. To complete an audit for 1 year is a sizable task. To complete it for 4 years and then the current year is going to be enormous. But we are up for that challenge. And I think with a proper strategy, the right support, and we'll be able to bring those reports to the House in due course.
The post of Auditor General was filled by Sharman after being void for approximately 2 years when the former Auditor General, Ms. Sonia Webster, resigned the position. This void has obviously compounded the expediency at which the report will be processed.
So the financial years 2010-2011 have been audited and reported to the House. Those have been laid before Parliament. My current workload is concerning the accounts for the years 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. Those have been prepared as a batch and they are now with my office and we're going through those diligently. The most recent financial year, 2016, is still under production by the Office of the Accountant General. We'll get those in due course.
Sharman made those comments while speaking with reporters on August 22, following the swearing-in of the new Governor Augustus Jaspert at the Supreme Court of the Virgin Islands. For JTV News, Kathy Richards.
Still to come on JTV News in The Big Story, this year's top CXC graduate selection marred in controversy. But first up, other news making headlines in the Caribbean.